Yeah, to begin with, I'd like to thank Donna and Jesse for organizing this event. I should mention I'm going to be able to say I dreamed I saw Joe Hill last night. For those on our side will recognize that that's a song that we all know. Yes, I'll try to stick as closely as possible to the title, Is Government Necessary? Though I think I have to interpret it as follows. Can government be an instrument to promote the general welfare of society as a whole? And if not government, what? Is the market an adequate substitute for government? Now, first of all, I should say as a socialist, I'm well aware that government can be an instrument of repression. Now, one of the things we socialists have drawn from that is don't become a true believer in any all-encompassing ideology, because reality, the world itself, is too complex and varied to be explained completely by any theoretical framework. So my remarks will mostly be observations about society as it exists, rather than debating Karl Marx versus Ayn Rand or something like that. Now I ought to say why I'm a socialist. It's my belief that society, through common action, can, primarily through the economy, create a better life for everyone. That may mean through government regulation or public enterprise, but it can also mean consumer co-ops, worker-owned enterprises, union participation on corporate boards, various ways that people acting together can work to create a better society for everyone. Part of a source of that belief is that human beings are inherently social animals. We do things that where our own activity affects other people and other people's activity affects us, and we can't act as though we're each living on a hillside, only responsible for what we do ourselves. What do socialists have against the market? There are lots of books about market socialism. There are plenty of market socialists, so antipathy to the market is just at most partial. One problem is that in a modern society, there are many natural monopolies. The water, what comes out of the water faucet. You don't each have 10 water faucets that are competing with each other. The roads we drive on. Many of the institutions of a complex society are inherently collective. And the question is how are the decisions of those institutions going to be made? And government is an instrument that can hopefully democratically make those kind of decisions. Markets, we think, don't usually work very well under conditions of monopoly. In our current society, in fact, there's an increasing concentration of economic forces in the hands of fewer and fewer corporations and financial institutions. This evaporates the restraints that we normally expect from market discipline. And socialists are willing to use government to level the playing field in that environment. There are plenty of examples of bad government, and we don't have to give them because we all know them, but I want to use the remainder of my remarks to just give a few examples of good government and bad markets. One example is the environment. Let me give an example of acid rain. Okay? If a power plant burns high sulfur coal, it emits sulfur dioxide into the upper atmosphere. That gets turned into sulfuric acid, which may cause rain hundreds of miles away because it goes into the upper atmosphere. Even in another country, power plants in upstate New York cause acid rain and destroy rivers and lakes in Canada. There's no local restraint on doing that because the people in that community don't care. Only government and institutions can create the kind of rules. For example, the Clean Air Act, an act of government, which got power plants to behave in a way that actually resulted in tremendous improvement in people's lives. The fact that we live longer lives now is to a great extent a consequence of common activity by the society as a whole. Just many other examples. The United States after World War II, after the Depression, and Western Europe and Northern Europe particularly after World War II, basically operated until the mid-70s or so under sort of a Keynesian economics, mixed economy, government participation in the economy rules. And some of the results of that, the GI Bill helped create a professional class out of returning soldiers because they all could go to college. We lived in a society where for many years you could expect that each generation would have a higher standard of living and a better life than the generation before that. A blue-collar industrial job could provide a middle-class life. Great poverty amongst seniors was not eliminated but greatly mitigated by Social Security and Medicare. One of the things that people like us keep wondering at some of the Tea Party meetings when people start shouting, "I want the government to keep their hands off my Medicare." And for us, that just seems like an oxymoron. Because people's lives and the length of their lives and the quality of their lives have been greatly improved by collective action through democratic government. Inexpensive public universities provided a path to upward mobility for millions and millions of people. National highway system created one national culture, in effect, out of the United States, helped create that rather than isolated communities. A safe banking system through the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation means we can put our money in the bank, and we have a financial system that until it got deregulated seemed to be working well. I could go on and on, but when I talk about all those things, it's as though I'm talking about ancient history. Because starting around 1975, with Margaret Thatcher, Reagan, that we came to an era where Keynesian economics was regarded as the past, and we are now in an era of deregulated free market enterprise where anything goes. And we think that in terms of people's lives, their expectation of the future, what they expect for their children, is now much diminished from the era when people expected to pay taxes and get social benefits in return. We think that's worth continuing.
Thank you.